now joined by Justice Markandey Katju, former Supreme Court judge, who actually, sir, you've written an article in which you have argued that you support the High Court's decision in the Sengar matter, the granting of bail and the suspending of his life sentence. But now that the CBI itself has challenged the Delhi High Court's bail sentence suspension, doesn't that show that even the prosecutors believe that this relief to Sengar was wrong?
May I ask you whether you have even fully read the order of the Delhi High Court?
Sir, I have, and it's based on a technicality. But yes, go ahead.
Now listen to me. Firstly, it is not that Sengar has not spent any time in jail. He has spent more than 8 years in jail. He was arrested in July 2017. Since then, he has been jailed for 8.5 years. So it is not that he has not spent time in jail. Secondly, this order of the High Court is an interim order. It is not a final judgment. The case is still pending. And the bench has not gone into the merits of the case in the sense that it has not considered whether Sengar is guilty of the offense or not, whether that girl, I think her name was, whether she is below 18 or above 18, although they have mentioned that there's strong evidence that she was above 18. However, what the bench has really said
if we didn't take her name, please, sir. Yes.
What the bench has really said is that the question is whether an MLA is a public servant within the meaning of the POCSO Act, that is the Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. Now, the trial court has held that an MLA is a public servant. But the High Court has pointed out that he is not a public servant under the POCSO Act. You see, the POCSO Act does not define the expression public servant, but it mentions that words and expressions not defined in this act will have the same meaning as in the Indian Penal Code. That is mentioned in Section 2, Clause 2 of the POCSO Act. So in the Indian Penal Code, in Section 21, it is a list of people who are deemed to be public servants is given. MLA is not one of them. MLA is not one of them. And in the case of Antule's case, A.R. Antule's case, Supreme Court has said that MLA is not a public servant for the purpose of the Indian Penal Code. Now, Section 5C of the POCSO Act says that if he is a public servant, then it is an aggravated sexual offense and he can be sentenced to life imprisonment. But when he is not a public servant, at least as defined in the POCSO Act, then you can't send him to life imprisonment. That is what the Delhi High Court
sir, so you've explained the technicalities here. In your article that I've read, you also said media adds mirch masala and you're uncomfortable with this, trial by media. But isn't outrage the natural response when an accused politician is getting relief, let's face it, that nobody else would get? You say he spent 7-8 years in jail, but should a rapist be released even if he spent 7-8 years in jail? And if an MLA is not a public servant under POCSO, this is again some loophole. It's a technicality. And shouldn't we be angry about this instead of defending it and justifying it? And it goes to show that the CBI is also approaching the Supreme Court, and this involves a minor being raped. So, rapists getting out on a technicality, I mean, it's outrageous.
Will you now listen to me, or you are so full
I let you speak, sir. Now I made my point. Yes, go ahead now.
Now see, if you want an MLA to be included in the definition of public servant, then go to Parliament and tell them to amend the POCSO Act. As the law stands today, an MLA is definitely not a public servant because of the Supreme Court judgment in Antule's case. When he is not a public servant, he cannot be awarded life sentence. Therefore, now see, the case appeal is still pending. Supposing
but why should he get bail? He is obviously a powerful person. This girl has lost, her father was murdered. She met with an accident. Two aunts were also killed in that accident. Why should he get bail?
Permit me to speak. What is this? You are not allowing me to speak.
I'm letting you speak, sir, but you're going on focusing on the technicality, and it's the media's job to also speak for the weak.
Can you allow me to speak? Can I hold your hand and beg
I did let you speak in the beginning. Go ahead, speak.
Now, please be silent for a moment, for God's sake.
All right, go ahead.
Now listen, he has spent 8.5 years in jail. And you know, in India, cases take a long time to decide. Supposing the appeal takes another 10 years to decide. And after 10 years, if he has spent 18 years in jail, and supposing the appeal is allowed and it is found that the judgment of the trial court is wrong, who will restore 18 years of his life? So what the High Court has done, it has struck a balance. Let me speak. For God's sake, keep silent.
Go ahead. I'm just, talking about
you can't.
here. I want to remind the viewers we're talking about a convicted rapist.
You media people don't allow people.
Sir, I'm letting you speak.
Then
Go ahead.
Silent. Now see, either the appeal will be ultimately allowed by the Delhi High Court, or it will be dismissed by the Delhi High Court. Now, if it is dismissed, he will have to go back to jail again. It is not that he is permanently free. The appeal is yet to be decided. But if the appeal is allowed and the judgment is set aside, then who will restore 18 years of his life? See, there are cases, you may be knowing many cases, particularly of Muslims, where people who have spent 23 years in jail were found innocent.
Right,
who
sir.
will restore 23 years of them. So a balance has to be struck. The Delhi High Court has struck a balance that he has already spent 8.5 years in jail. We are releasing him on bail, but the appeal is still pending. So, very correct order.
And be brought before the Supreme Court, sir. We'll have to leave it there. I'm out of time, but do remember he's a convicted rapist. He is a powerful person. I have never heard of anyone else who's convicted under POCSO having his sentence suspended just after spending 7-8 years. He's not done us a favor by spending 7-8 years.
No, you should be the judge. Because you media people are the judges. You media people are the judges. You will decide everything. You will decide everything.
Well, it is the media that has to speak for
you become a judge. You give up your...
not become. It's going before the Supreme Court, sir, but we have to speak for the
Supreme Court. You become a judge.
And we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us. I did let you make your point. You explained the technicalities quite extensively. Thank you, Markandey, Justice Markandey Katju there for joining us on the program.